What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
That didn't go as smooth as I thought it was going to go.
You overshot it just a little bit.
Hey, that's what happens when you get excited. You overshoot your load. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am awesome. Thank you for asking. I'm happy to be back. What's going on, sir? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be back in the seat, recording new episodes. You know, it's been a minute. Hopefully, y'all didn't miss us too much, but we are back again. I think they missed us. Yeah, I think they missed us a lot.
I had to let it out. I had to get it out. It was holding me back.
I don't know what that was because your microphone cut you off.
I hate this mic. If anybody has a suggestion of which mic that I should upgrade,
I'm telling you, it's not that you can't be loud. You just can't be loud next to the microphone. So you just got to lean back a little bit, and then you can raise your voice and be loud. I mean, that wasn't as loud as the other one, but I heard you that time at least.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's operator error. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Welcome back. Crazy monologues we have here on this show. I wonder what that's from.
I wonder what's from. What?
The crazy monologues.
Oh, well, if they don't know already, then I mean, they got to come to expect it. But if you don't know, this is All Things Super, where every week, at least most of the time every week, but we take a piece of superpowered TV, movie, trailers, we watch it, we react to it, we break it down, we talk about it, we review it, and we ask the question, is it super? But Is it? We'll figure it out. We'll find out. But if you like that, you can subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes come out. You can find us on all of your major podcast streaming platforms if you want the audio version. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod. But for this episode, we got some catching up to do. For this one. Yeah, we got some catching up to do. But for this episode, we're going back to Westeros. We're talking about Game of Thrones.
That's my worst impression that I could possibly do of that.
We don't want to get DMCA'd, so we can't put the whole theme song in there. But we're talking about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. We're going to be covering 2 episodes. In this episode, we're going to be talking about episode 5, We Light the Way, and episode 6, The Princess and the Queen. We are in the We're in the mid part of the season. We're at the apex. This is where shit starts to get crazy.
And it's gotten 100% off the rails.
It's getting wild. It is getting wild. So just a little bit of a recap where we left off with episode 4. We were getting into this whole thing where Damon and Renira were having this little romp around the castle. Renira wanted to escape and try to be somebody that was free of the responsibilities of the throne. She wanted to experience, you know, what it was like without responsibility. So Damon takes her out into the city, brings her to a brothel. They end up kissing, almost having sex. But Renira
wanted to be a real boy. Like Pinocchio. So she has actually got called a boy and got excited. And then who brings their niece to a brothel?
Damon. I should say a Targaryen. I'll put it that way. We're
morally just looking at this show like,
yeah,
he go get her. There's no denying it. He know what he doing.
Yeah. And so Renira gets so worked up from being with Damon, she heads back to her room, and lo and behold, since nothing happens between her and Damon, she's still worked up, so she catches Sir Kristen Cole, who is obviously enamored with Renira, and so they end up getting it on. Christian breaks his vow of celibacy as a part of the Knight's Guard. Yes.
The way they depicted that, you can actually see the struggle in him, questioning if he wanted to do this. And my God, he had all kind of chances to change his mind.
We were taking that armor
dethroning scene was, I'm like, she gonna be sleep about time you get this off, my guy. I'm thinking,
well, I mean, to be fair, she was helping him, so
she was, and it was still long.
It was incredibly long.
It was incredibly long. I'm like, dude, how can you move with all this on?
Right.
Let a lot of armor.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they end up getting it on. And the bad part about it is not only does word get out that your uncle brought you to the brothel, but they seen you in there. They seen you. Damon left her with her pants around her ankles. So what is anyone to think inside the brothel other than, wow.
Yeah. And so at least the thing about it is that she was in disguise. So for the most part, it doesn't seem like too many people in the brothel knew that that was the princess or even cared that that was the princess. She didn't get found out until she left. And
she actually was not in disguise inside the brothel. They had already took that hat off.
That is true.
She was barefaced in the brothel, about to get tossed up by her uncle. That don't even sound right saying.
And then I don't know why you said it. I don't know why you said it.
It gotta be Thrones. You gotta, when you hear somebody talking like that, that's the go-to. Yo, you gotta be talking about Game of Thrones. I hope they are, because if not, you're going to jail. Yeah. You're gonna get caught. I'm just saying, this is the escape for people that, I guess, I don't know. It's so compelling, though.
You're going down a road where I'm not sure where you're going to end up at. So I would say tread carefully.
I'm not going to a brothel. I know that.
Listen.
Well then, hey. Anyway, what I'm saying is they mistakenly identity not. They knew it was her, and the little snitch went back and told Otto, which, like you said, we talked about, it's one of the hardest things to do, to have to report that situation and be wrong. He was wrong because Damon never did anything with her.
Right.
So it's just, it was inappropriate. It got all the way up to that point, but he didn't do anything. But yeah, go ahead and finish catching up. I'm gonna be quiet because I'm gonna drink some of this.
Yeah, we see that even after a couple of episodes, we see that there's some foreshadowing in this episode, because Renira runs out and she's looking for Damon. She runs into Sir Harwin. Sir Harwin is a part of the gold cloaks. He catches up and he said, just next time, be careful, because next time, somebody might catch you. It might not be, they're just gonna let you go. So we, like you said, Otto finds out because he has monitors all around the city, finds out what happened. He has the internal struggle of whether or not to tell the king. Of course, he's trying to put on a facade that he cares about the well-being of the crown, cares about the king and his family, but of course he also has ulterior motives. He wants power. He wants to make sure that Alicent rises up to be the queen, and so Viserys doesn't believe him. He takes it out. He says that, I just realized that you've been manipulating me this whole time. I believe it was like 6 years at that point after no, it was like three or 4 years at that point after Emma died. And basically he had been pushing Alicent up on, Otto had been pushing Alicent up on Viserys. And so Viserys finally realized, you've been manipulating me. So I feel like you can't be impartial. You cannot be my hand because you have your own ulterior motive that you're trying to push forward. So you're fired. Get out of here. You got to go.
And when he took that hand of the pen off of his little coat, you can actually hear a heart drop. A pin heart, or just
pin heart.
It can't start an automobile in this time, but you can hear he was broke down. He was broke down. Poor Otto. There was no win in that situation.
There wasn't. There was. You damned if you do, damned if you don't. But it's not the end of.
If you didn't say anything and the king get back to it, now you slipping on your job.
Exactly.
You're supposed to know this type of stuff.
You get fired again. You get fired anyway. So, but it's not the end of Otto Hightower. We will see him in later episodes. But to wrap up that episode, Alicent asked Renira about it. Renira denies it, said that nothing happened between her and Damon. Viserys goes to Damon. himself and asks about it. Damon doesn't deny it, but he also doesn't confirm it. Of course, he gets banished from King's Landing. He's told to go back to his wife. And also, Viserys talks to Renira about it and basically says that, you know, you have a duty, you have a responsibility. This is what I've seen. This is what's been foretold. He shows her the dagger, shows her the inscription in it, tells her about the Song of Ice and Fire. Rhaenyra finally understands, say, you know what? I understand I have a responsibility, so I will marry Laenor. I will unite the houses Targaryen and Valerian, and we'll have power back in the land again. And so they come to an agreement. And so the last thing that we see before we end the episode is that the Maester brings this special tea to Rhaenyra because it's basically like a liquid form of a morning after pill. It's like, look, we know you did something, but so we can keep up appearances and make sure that you don't get pregnant, you might want to drink this tea and just kind of wash out everything that's in there and just kind of, you know, keep it pushing.
Now, here's the thing, because they left it open-ended. You think she drank the tea?
You know, it's hard to say, because if she did drink the tea or if she didn't drink the tea, she didn't get pregnant. She did not have a child.
She did not have a child for Sir
Kristen.
Christian. So she didn't have a kid for him, or she could have just not gotten pregnant.
True. So either way, she didn't have a child. But
nice spin on that episode.
So this brings us into episode 5. We Light the Way. So we're dealing with some repercussions of Rhaenyra's choices. We go to Driftmark.
She's still bad girl, hot girl Ree.
Right, she's still hot girl Ree. We go to Driftmark because Viserys has to make this this union official, or this betrothal. He has to make this betrothal official. So he goes to Corlys to offer his daughter's hand to his oldest son and basically say, you know, we want to unite our families. And so Corlys sees this as, all right, so my son, right, exactly. What do I get? My son, who's obviously the male, he's going to take up the name, right? All of the kids are going to be named Valerian. And so Viserys is like, well, no, we want to keep the Targaryen name. Or do you mean to tell me that my daughter is going to be the last of our line? No. And then technically his daughter wouldn't be the last of his line because he also has 2 sons.
Which she knew that going in. Exactly. This was just a big king move. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So he wanted to keep the name Targaryen. Basically, Corlys was like, you know what? I'm not about to fight you on this. We'll figure it out. Right. And so
what a straight brother would say. I go work it out.
Yeah, we're gonna work it out. We'll talk about it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, you about to die anyway. You want a chair? They asked the man if he wanted a chair. You're not looking strong. Them knees weak.
You're not looking too hot, Viserys.
Damn, this dude gonna die.
Yeah, he is on borrowed time. But we cut to Renira and Laenor. They're having a walk along the beach. They're talking about this marriage and everything. We find out that Laenor is gay. Laenor has a lover. He's working with I think they call him the Knight of Kisses, Joffrey. Yeah. And so they come to this agreement. They try, they're speaking in code about what type of food they like. And they're like, I think they said goose, talking about goose and duck. And so basically, they're coming to this agreement.
I just don't want to play Duck Goose anymore. That's all I'm saying.
But they come to an agreement. They're basically saying, like, look, I don't want this. I'm doing this marriage for our house. Like, we understand that we're not in love. But look, we'll keep up our marriage for appearances. You do your thing. I do my thing. We'll be cool. And so Renira offers this idea to Kristen. Sir Kristen wants to run away with Renira. Sir Kristen wants a life with her. Sir Kristen's in love. He's like, we can run away. We can be free. We can be free of the throne. We can be free of responsibilities. We don't have to worry about anything. And Renira says,
come with me.
Renira says that she finally understands that she has a responsibility to the throne. And Sir Kristen is so confused by this because he was like, 3 weeks ago, you said you didn't want to have anything to do with it. You were like,
Nothing
I'm
to
done with the
do with
throne.
it.
I don't want it. I don't want this responsibility. And now all of a sudden that you change. But now you just want me to be your whore, somebody that you can come just fool around with. Somebody that you can fool around with. And, you know, you keep up appearances married to Laenor, and then you just come fuck me whenever you want, whenever you feel like it.
Basically, yeah, you're a fuckboy. That's some fuckboy
exactly.
shit. You know,
Sir
you're supposed to say your fuckboy role.
Sir Kristen's not about that. Like I said, Sir Kristen was in love. He loved Renira. He wasn't about it. He's like, you know what? I don't want any part of that. He gets pissed off, walks off.
But now here's the thing. Because I'm going to fast forward a little bit, because in this same episode, Damon comes back and challenged the marriage that she's about to get into. But she immediately tells Damon, if you want me, take me right now, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
And, well, she didn't say it in those exact words. I'm paraphrasing. People, calm down. But she said, I'll go with you right now. Sir Chris ain't the one.
Right.
Apparently Damon the one, because she's ready to throw it all away to go with who she want to go with. Real hot girl shit. Now, I'm just saying, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting how the flip with the flip-flop. It's flopping around. Girl can't make up her mind. I don't know what she want to do. She want to run, stay. I don't really want to get it together.
You are all on it with the songs tonight.
You know what? You're right.
But so we're following our A story. So Renira, of course, she's dancing with Laenor. They're at Driftmark, and so they have this big party because they're supposed to have this whole celebration of uniting the houses, Valerian and Targaryen.
It's a big thing.
It's a real big thing. Damon shows up. He shows up late. They end up getting him a seat at the table. He is of no concern. He doesn't really care about any of this. He just wants to be seen. He just wants that attention.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And
be
so
damn, y'all gonna be looking at something, it ain't gonna be me. Ain't that some fuck bullshit?
And so while all of this dancing is going on, we see that the camera's cutting back to Sir Kristen, and he's obviously pissed because he doesn't like this union between Laenor and Renira. He knows that it's fake. He knows it's a sham. But not only that, Joffrey comes up to him and says, look, I know about you. I know that you and Renira got this thing going on. I got a whole thing going on myself. So how about you and I, we work together. We keep their secrets tight. So that way we can continue to do what they do. They continue to do what they do. And everybody be happy. Everybody has their cake and eat it too. Right.
It's a win-win-win-win-win. There's a lot of wins. That's like 8 wins.
Right. And so Sir Kristen is just enraged by this fact. Sir Kristen goes off the deep end.
To be a whore.
he is completely just, I guess, put off by the idea that his virtue is being called into question and that he would take part in this. And so while Renira is talking to Damon, they kind of fall behind the crowd. Then you hear somebody scream, and like you said, the last thing that we hear is that Renira is talking about, if you want me, take me now, we'll go. And so they fall behind the crowd. Viserys already has in his mind that something happened between Damon and Renira. So the last thing he sees is them together, and Damon grabs Renira by her face. And so he was like, I don't know what's about to happen, so I'm trying to see. Crowd comes in, covers him up, can't see anything. You hear a scream, they part ways. We're thinking something happened with Damon and Renira. No, Kristen is on Joffrey like it's fucking UFC fight night and bashing his fucking face in. Goes off the deep end. Kills the man in the middle of the Great Hall where they're supposed to be having his feast. Pool of blood. Joffrey's dead. Laenor sees it. Laenor cries out because this is the man that he loves. And he can't hide that emotion because his lover is now dead. And so Viserys is saying that, all right, so because of all of this that happened, and we got to figure this out. So we're just going to go ahead and have this marriage tonight. clear everybody out, get everybody out of here. Y'all getting married tonight because we need to get this settled.
Notice, as you go back and watch, notice the setting, the lighting, all for their wedding, all at night. I think he's like still like it's like they just get up, let's go. We're about to do this right now.
Right.
And it looks exactly like that. It's a sham of a wedding. There's no happy emotions involved. That's not how marriages normally goes.
No, but I mean, they didn't even get a chance to clean it. They got the body out of there, but the blood was still on the ground. They didn't even clean it up.
That's so dramatic. I love it. It's theater. It's right, like live in this. Mm-hmm. This show is horrible, dude.
It is. It is horrible.
It's like it takes you through it. It's like live in this. This is what this is. But they try to find a little piece of happiness inside of it. But this is the part that I wanted to come to, not because I'm trying to be negative, because there's no such thing as perfection. And for those who are understanding will agree, some won't agree. This part is a part that I really wish they did not do. We skip ahead. Mm-hmm. We've been progressively skipping ahead, and it's fine, and we should be used to it at this time. But we're skipping from 6 months to 2 years to 3 years to 5 years to 10 years later on. But now we're jumping again, and I really wish we could spend more time with these actors. And somebody made a comment to me, the dynamic is weird because we age some up, but we keep some down because continuity of the story, so you could know who he's talking to. Is like, I like that part because it's not too just abrupt that you feel like you got to catch up. There's still a level of familiarity because yes, he's talking to Sir Chris, but theoretically Chris should be older. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, because like you're saying, well, and it comes more in episode 6 than episode 5, but we see a character change in the women. In Renira and in Alicent, we have character changes, but you have for Viserys, of course, he's getting older, so they give him makeup, they change his hair so he's looking and appearing older. But you have Sir Kristen.
But wait, before you go into that, yeah, the king passes out.
Yes, right? The king does pass out at the wedding.
I thought the king was dead.
I didn't think he was dead. I didn't think he was dead.
I was right there watching the episode like, yep, Spider called it. Spider killed the king.
I did not kill the
king. No. And he's dead.
No, he's
out of here.
He's not dead yet. But like I said, that's the A storyline. We still have a B and C storyline going on in episode 5. So our B plot, we have our B plot where we're following Alicent, because before they head over to Driftmark, Alicent runs into her father. He's leaving King's Land, and of course he's fired. And so Otto tells her, like, look, you have to get Aegon ready. Aegon needs to be the heir to the throne, because if he's not, it's gonna all go crazy. It's
gonna be for you.
Everybody kneeled in allegiance with Renira being named as the heir to the throne, but they're never going to accept that. A man has to be on the throne. Aegon has to take the throne. He has to be the heir. So you have to figure out how you're going to make that happen. Otto is putting this in. Otto is putting this in Alicent's hands. Like, the king will not see this because he's delusional. He's basically stuck on having his daughter. We can see that the king is blind to all his daughter's antics. Rhaenyra has done so much stuff for Viserys to be like, you know what? You can't act right. So I'm stripping this title away from you. You are not going to be the heir to the throne anymore.
But he promised that he would never do it.
He promised that he wouldn't do that. And so he's sticking true to his word. He's sticking true to his word. And so
it's like being immortal. If you know you can't die, of course you're going to live recklessly with your life.
Right. And so Alicent is trying to figure out exactly what she can do. So she's going around. She, of course, she She's asking, we saw that she had asked Renira what happened between her and Damon. Renira told her that nothing happened between her and Damon. So Allison, which is the truth, but Allison goes to Sir Kristen. Sir Kristen is entrusted. He's the one that's watching over the princess. So if anybody would know anything, Sir Kristen would know something. So Allison goes to Sir Kristen, asks him about what's going on, and Sir Kristen, thinking that she is aware of what he did, he just a man of honesty. He's like, you know what? I did it. It was me. Nope. I can't.
You lost points with me, baby. You snitching. You can't be out here just snitching. No, she ain't even accused you.
She wasn't even talking about you. But he just rolled over like a puppy.
You an old running go point type. Them over there. Them. They did it. We can't be down with you.
So he came out. He admitted to everything that he did. He basically said, "I only asked that, don't punish me, don't put me on trial, don't like besmirch my name in front of everybody, just sentence me to death and get it over with." But Allison sees this as an opportunity because now I have inside knowledge that nobody else has, so I'm going to use this to my advantage.
That's all those dogs.
Right, that's all those dogs. She's coming into her own as a high tower. And not only that, she's getting approval and she's getting support from other people in House Hightower. So that leads her to sort of, before she was playing just basically the queen. She was playing the king. Well, I should say she was playing the king's wife, basically supporting the king in his decisions, doing the stuff that he wants to do. Now she's coming into her own, and instead of just being the king's wife, she's stepping into her role as the queen. She's wearing green now, as we learned while they were in Driftmark. Green is the color that the House Hightower they light their beacons when they're ready to go to war, when they're signaling the flags of war. They light their beacons green. And so we see this. Obviously Allison's like, we're in a conflict. And so not only that, she makes this grand entrance into the celebration. She comes fashionably late. Everybody turns their attention to her. She's like, I am making sure that I am being seen. And not only am I being seen, but you're going to recognize me in my role and my responsibility.
And my green.
And so that's our B storyline. Allison is kind of getting into her own. But our C storyline, Damon, again, he gets kicked out of King's Landing. He has to go back.
This dude. I'm shutting the studio down.
The thing about it is that Damon does so much without doing anything at all. Right? So he goes back to his wife. His wife doesn't give a damn about him. His wife doesn't care about him. He doesn't care about his wife. They're estranged, but he goes back. He greets her. She's
like, did you come here to
finally consummate our marriage? Right. And so she digs at him because she knows that all the way back in, I think, like episode 1 or 2, Damon was basically saying, he didn't care about his wife. He didn't want to go back because everybody there, all the men there, they would rather fuck the sheep than fuck the women because the sheep are prettier. And so
travel fast.
It does travel fast. Well, I mean, we say it travels fast, but again, this is 3-4 years down the line since that happened. And so, but of course his wife gets wind of it. She was like, oh, have you finally come to consummate our marriage? Or would you rather fuck a sheep? Because obviously they're pretty. I'm sure you can find one. And so Damon does nothing. Damon just approaches her. The horse rears back, knocks her off the horse. She falls.
That's that evil.
Snaps like the horse can sense it. He comes in his hooded cloak and he just walks up to the horse. Horse rears back. She falls off the horse, snaps her spine. She's paralyzed. She can't even get up. And this is a woman who was a gifted hunter. We saw that she had her bow, she had her sword. She was talking to her cousin. She was going hunt deer. And so she falls off the horse, snaps her spine, she's paralyzed. And then Damon was leaving. Damon was like, look, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm about to bounce. And then she still digs at him anyway. She was like, I knew you couldn't finish. And so
damn.
He's like,
damn.
You know what? You want to talk shit? He picks up a rock.
You don't even know this dude like that, but that's what. All right, go ahead.
So he picks up a rock, and of course they cut the scene there. So we're left with the interpretation that Damon has killed her. But of course,
I got an interesting theory on this.
And what's that?
If you allow me to share this theory, I got an interesting theory on it. So I noticed how they're doing Damon, and I think we talked about it before. It's all questionable things that he's doing, not necessarily venomous things, or like anti-venomous things. Like he killed the Crab King, and he went on a nice watch, and not the nice watch. The Gold Cloaks came and took out all the murderers, rapists, thieves, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Even this situation where we left to believe that he killed his wife, she fell off the horse.
Right.
She looked like she was paralyzed. And think about the times back then. He may have been doing her a mercy by ending it all. Not saying that it was right. Not saying that it was right. But I'm saying he could have been doing a mercy kill because life is, listen, you could take everything for granted right now because you have the luxuries of life of doing things. But back in those times, your life would have been really, really difficult. Not to say it wasn't going to be a life worth living, so y'all come put me in the comments. But I'm saying it's really difficult. You could see the gentleman with the cleft foot early in what's his name?
Laris.
Yeah. Don't you think he wants some nice shoes? He can't get nice shoes. He got to wear that foot. He got to wear that foot. He needed it. It's medical. But I'm saying they're painting him in a certain light.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the edge, but he doesn't go there.
He's not an evil person, but he's definitely not a good guy.
Yes. But he's going to go there. I mean, everyone that I'm talking to about Thrones, because I like to talk about Thrones, is telling me we're waiting for these Targaryen kids to come about. We want to see them. And that's that they're staying true to the story, which they look like they're leaning kind of strongly to the books. We're looking for these kids that haven't said, you guys are rooting for our uncle, and it's Thrones, baby. You got to be talking about Thrones. But everyone is waiting for that part to come and see what's going on with it. Now, I would really like to have spent more time in some of these situations. And I know we're not even talking about the last episode, but the one even with this one, like...
It was so quick. It was like you really only got really like 2 scenes with Damon. You saw him with his wife, and then you really don't see him again until he comes back at the dinner.
Exactly. And then he's going after the inheritance of his wife, which her cousin was there ready to,
You're ready to throw down. He's like, look,
I know my cousin, you know what I'm saying? She know how to ride. She the top of her game. She the only downside is that she know you. You know what I'm saying? Some of us know those people in our lives. The only downside is that they know you, and you're a package deal, so they gotta just deal with you. So I knew something was up, and he was out of handle business. You could tell how he stepped to him, but the reality did set in. Like she died, we ain't had no heirs. Run me her shit.
Right.
That's for me. And it was like, it was like when Otto lost his pen. You seen that heart just break?
Because and
he kind of just walked off.
Well, the thing about it is that he kind of got interrupted because House Valerian came in, Sir Corlys and Rhaenys and Laenor and I'm blanking on the daughter's name. I can't think of the daughter's name, but they all came in, and so that took the attention away from him. But then he kind of he didn't have nothing else to say, so he kind of just slunk away. It's like, all right, well, I ain't got
y'all valet talking.
Basically, he said his piece, and he had to kind of move away from it. And it's like, you really don't have nothing else that you can say. It's like you made your accusation, but you have no way to prove it. Everybody else say that she fell off her horse, hit her head on a rock, and you would think that if Damon were to kill her, then he would do something to make it seem like that. He would basically, we saw him pick up the rock. So he would bash her head in a way, because Damon is smart. Damon is a smart dude. He's very smart. We can see that he's manipulative, but he knows how to manipulate people. He knows how to read people. He knows how to get a reaction out of people. We saw that all the way back in episode 1 when we're introduced to Damon. Viserys told Otto, he was like, my brother loves to get under your skin. He does this for sport. This is something that he loves doing. So, it's absolutely plausible that he murdered her in a way to make it look like an accident.
Oh, I'm quite certain he murdered the shit out of her. Yes, she's all the way dead. And I'm not saying that he didn't have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, did he kill her out of death? Or kill her out of, because I don't think he went there with intentions to kill her.
I don't think he did either. I really don't think he did, because like I said, he didn't approach her in a malicious way to try to attack her or anything like that. He simply just walked up to the horse and the horse reared back and she fell off of it. It's not like he knocked off the horse or grabbed her to pull off the horse or anything like that. So he might have just saw that as an opportunity. He's like, oh, okay, well, this worked out for me. Great.
He's an opportunity.
I find myself in this advantageous situation.
Look at God. He just keeps blessing me. So thank you, Lord. Let me get this rock.
Man. Right. Let me get this rock real quick. And then the thing about it is, even still, after she fell off the horse, he was leaving. He was walking off. He didn't pick up the rock until she started talking shit about him after he was leaving.
And that's when Silk Sonic played in the background. And he turned around real fast and was like, I got you. Come here. Come here.
But so,
it's Thrones, baby. It's Thrones. You gotta be talking about Thrones. I hope so.
All right. Well, so we're running out of time. We still got another episode to get into. So we talked about episode 5. We liked the way. So let's talk about episode 6, the Princess and the Queen. Oh man. All right. So like Mr. VIP Frankie Washington said, now we're jumping 10 years in the future. A 10-year time jump. We have a new actress for Renira. We have a new actress for Alicent. All right, so our older men characters, they are, they put some makeup on them, they thin their hair out a little bit, they're visibly aged. But for Sir Criston, he just got a haircut. So Criston got a haircut. Sir Harwin,
the snitch.
Yeah, that's what his name is going to be. Sir
that's Criston, what his name. He is snitch.
Yeah. So Criston got a haircut. Sir Harwin, I think he got a haircut too. Like his hair was a little bit shorter.
Yes, but the hand of the king.
Yeah, no, not his son. The Hand's son, the one who was basically watching over Renira and her kids.
Oh, okay.
And we find out a little bit more information about him a little bit later on in the episode.
Hey man, I hit the horn.
You did. That was the first thing you did. So we just jumped into it. But so we're 10 years. 10 years in the future. We open up Rhaenyra's having a baby. Rhaenyra having a baby.
I just want to shout this out that I knew we were going to open up with Renira. Mm-hmm. And again, this is for those who really pay attention to this as an art. Notice how you're here with it. Right. This is Renira. This is her. And guess what she's doing as we pan out? She's having a baby. What? Guess what else she's doing? She's already had 2 more. Yeah. You felt robbed? I felt robbed. Again, they just want to get into the story. Stop. I feel like I'm getting cheated story because you're telling me in all this time, Renira and the Queen haven't really been talking at all. Yeah. So
in the same castle, no less. In the same castle and just not having a conversation. And then,
exactly.
And not to jump ahead, but we see that they're both on the council now. They're both on the council. This was like unprecedented. The queen wasn't, well, the queen, Alicent was still young, but she wasn't on the council before. Rhaenyra was handing out drinks as a part of the council. She was basically eavesdropping. Right. She's not being able to contribute, you know, being seen as being defiant when she tried to speak up and try to give her a voice her opinions on things. But now they're both a part of the council. They have a seat. They have a little orb. They can talk freely when they want to speak.
Look at women's rights. They come so far.
But yeah, time, like you said, in that time frame, you know, did they only speak in a professional capacity, or, you know, they used to be best friends, so now they're not talking at all.
Till she pulled a Rick and Morty and she said, "I'm gonna fuck your dad."
True.
Remember, that is true.
That is true.
Yeah. Rick and Morty across universes.
I mean, it's all you know, Warner Brothers and everything. So there's all
close enough. That's a win. That's a win for me. Thank you for me. Same umbrella. For me, man. Spider. Thank you. Yes, sir. All of it's gonna be one at one point.
It's all gonna cross over. We're gonna see Rick in Westeros at some point. I don't know.
I want to see Rick in Westworld.
Oh my God!
It's on HBO.
It is. It is all tied together. But so Rhaenyra's having a baby. We see that the baby's born. Baby's healthy. Baby has no problems. As we've opened up on, you know, not opened up on the first episode, but in the first episode, Emma had her baby, and unfortunately, the baby passed away, and. Yeah. So we get Laenor, he comes in, he's elated that it's a boy. And so as soon as Rhaenyra has the baby, the woman comes in and says the queen wants to see the baby. Immediately, the queen wants to see the baby. And we're wondering, like, why? Why is the queen like so petty that she wants to take her baby away from the princess? And so Rhaenyra, who just had a child, we see like seconds after the baby is out, they're telling her like, you need to stay in bed. And so Rhaenyra is like, no, she's not gonna have the satisfaction of taking this away from me. And so we see her stand up, and they say the afterbirth is coming. The afterbirth is coming out. She's not even done yet.
That's crazy. But I was thinking that she was going to take the baby, and I think Rhaenyra was thinking the same thing I was thinking, and I wasn't even know. I was just watching the show, but I was thinking that she was going to take the baby and send the baby somewhere else. So he's like, nah, fuck that. You're not going to do that. I'm about to go where my baby, where I go, or my baby goes.
Well, baby goes, I go. Right. Yeah.
There you go. I couldn't have said it.
I was of the same mindset. What I was thinking, because at this point, you know, me not being familiar with the Game of Thrones story, I didn't realize that she already had 2 other kids, which we find out later. And so I'm thinking that this is Rhaenyra's, in my mind, I'm thinking at this point, this is Rhaenyra's first child. So I'm thinking what Alicent is trying to do, you know, they say that those first few moments when the baby's born is the most precious, because that's when it bonds with the mother holds the baby. And because we saw that Rhaenyra, they had to get her dressed, and she still didn't want to let her baby go while they got her dressed. So my thought was that Alicent was trying to take the baby, break that bond with the mother, and so you know, do whatever, like try to not necessarily raise it as her own, but just try to like have some sort of rift in between her and her child. That's what I was thinking was going to happen.
That was nice. That's a nice theory.
But so we find out as we get this long tracking shot of Laenor and Rhaenyra going through the castle, which was amazing because I watched it like the after the credits, like little featurette or whatever, how they say that they built this entire set. You know, this was a real set, like in a castle. They went not only down in these long hallways, they went upstairs to a second level. So this was a 2-story set. So this set is huge, but it was this long tracking shot of them following them through the castle.
Browns, baby.
And so they finally get to the queen's room. They get to Alicent, and Alicent, again, petty as hell. She looks at the baby. The baby, we see that Targaryens have the silver blonde hair, Valerians have the silver blonde hair, and this baby has dark brown hair.
Brunette, yeah.
And so Rhaenyra sees the baby and says to Laenor, Keep trying. You'll get one that looks like you eventually. I heard that. I was like, damn. Just so cold-blooded.
It's like when Otto lost his pen. You can hear the heartbreak. Like, this bitch knows everything.
And so we end up finding out that, of course, because of Lenore being gay, we don't know if they're having relations. We never get that to be discussed. But obviously, Lenore is not the one getting Renira pregnant.
No, sir.
But so obviously Allison has this idea in her mind that she knows that Leonor's not the father of these kids. And we see when we're introduced to the other two kids, when they go back to the room, Sir Harwin is in the room with the other two boys. They're they have a dragon egg for the new baby, who Lenore declares that the baby's name is Joffrey. And so Renira is a little upset about that. She's like, do you not wish to consult me when you want to name my child? He's like, well, isn't it our child? But so he came up with the name. So now the baby is named Joffrey, who is after the name of, his lover that was killed the night they got married.
Exactly. I mean, let's be honest. It was a marriage of circumstance and convenience, which they both agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, he felt as though you owe me this. I didn't ask for it for your first child. I didn't ask for it for your second child.
Right.
This child, which none of them are mine, you owe me at least this.
Yeah.
Which is why I think she finally just kind of let it go and let him have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she had no control over Sir Chris at that point in time. In fact, she was trying to run away with Damon. She didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
But ultimately, when you're in an entanglement, man, some people get slapped.
Or punched and have their fucking face caved in.
That is horrible. We shouldn't do those things.
But before we get into the whole thing about it and everything, so obviously these babies are not for am I to be your whore? But obviously these kids are not for Lenore. We can see that very clearly. They don't even have even though they're half Targaryen, they don't even have Targaryen hair. But my thing is that we spent these last...
What more used to say? The DNA test came back.
The DNA test results are in. The paternity test is confirmed. You are not the father.
Damn.
But my whole thing is that we're halfway through the season at this point. We've gone through 5 episodes, and that's where we have this break in time. We have this 10-year time jump. The girls are a lot older now. But this entire time, we've seen Renira be portrayed as this person who is smarter than she lets off. We saw in one of the very first episodes, Renira and Allison were sitting in the courtyard. Renira was basically like studying like the history, and Allison was trying to quiz her on it, and she was just kind of blowing it off, not paying attention into it. And so Allison was upset. So like, you have this fortunate circumstance to be a part of the royal family, and for you to shirk your duties, shirk your responsibilities, and be so flippant about it and not care about anything, then you're like, you could see that Allison was kind of jealous, because at that point Allison was just sort of like a handmaiden and not really of any importance in the castle, and I think she kind of wanted that. But so we see that in that moment, Renira was like, just spouted off all of this information. She's retained all this information. She knows all of this. She doesn't care about it, but she knows it. She's learned it, And so we have seen Renira portrayed as this very intelligent person, just somebody who doesn't necessarily care about the rules. And so we get to episode 6, and the thing that I'm sort of confused about, and I didn't really care for, is that after all this time, as we've seen Renira be so intelligent, how did she think that she was going to continue to get away? Not 1, not 2, but 3 children. 3 children for another person who's not your husband, and you think that nobody's going to notice? And it's not like the kids are babies. Her oldest son had to be like 8 or 9 at this point. And so this has been going on since almost like right after they got married. But it's like, I don't understand how she could be so delusional to think that nobody was going to notice or nobody was going to say anything. And even we get into the episode and Viserys tries to blow it off. He's like, when I was younger, I had this black stallion and he got out, or this black horse, and the horse got out, and the horse mated with this silver horse, and they had a foal, and the foal was just unremarkably brown. And so he's telling this to Alicent to try to basically substantiate or at least refute these claims that Alicent is basically saying these kids are not Laenors. And so and Alicent is being shown as being intelligent. She's like, well, did you see that happen? Did you see that these two horses made it? Like, you have this perception that that's what happened, but even still, that was one time. We're talking about 3 times. Like, once is coincidence. 2 is an occurrence. 3 is a pattern. It's like, this can't keep happening.
You are not the father.
Right. You're not the father. You're back on Maury for the 3rd time with this woman, and it's still, you are not the father. Keep coming back. But
because Maury used to fly him out, you know what I'm saying? He flew out. Maury flew him out.
But it's
I don't understand it either. But I guess it's you got to kind of blame the writing on that one, because she's only staying true to the character. Because again, we're in the books, and the books are gonna let us know where we're going if we stay true to the books. Because the stuff that's going on now, god damn.
Yeah.
Thrones, baby. It's Thrones.
It is. But just going into it, we get a look at, of course, Renira's kids, her 2 sons, what is Lucerys and Jacaerys, so they call them Jace and Luke. And then we also get a look at Alicent's kids. Alicent has 4 kids now. We only see 3 of them in an episode, but she has 4 kids now. She has Aegon, who of course we saw.
Aegon.
we saw
the
Aegon,
one that don't have a dragon.
No, Aegon has a dragon.
Oh, Aegon does have a dragon?
Yeah, Aegon is the oldest. No, Aegon is the oldest. Aegon has a dragon. It's the younger boy, the 3rd son. The 2nd son who doesn't have a dragon. I'm trying to look up what his name is, because it's so hard to keep all of these names.
Hey, you're doing way better than me, because I don't even know who have a dragon. So
Aemond is the one that doesn't have a dragon.
Okay.
So we're introduced to Aegon, who's the oldest. He's the one that we already saw.
What did you type in Google? Did you type in who doesn't have a dragon?
No, I just went to IMDb and I was looking at the cast list for the episode.
Oh, okay. That's what I would have put in Google. Who doesn't have a dragon? And wonder why all these names come up.
Right. You're going to get the whole list of everybody and the whole entire history of Game of Thrones. Everybody in Westeros that doesn't have a dragon.
Damn it.
But yeah, so we already seen Aegon even back when they were in I don't even remember the name of the place that they were in when Renira killed the boar and everything. That's when Aegon was like 2 years old, and there was a celebration for him because that's when everyone thought that Viserys was going to name Aegon as the heir to the throne.
Aegon.
And so we're also introduced to Aemond, who's the 2nd son of Alicent and Viserys, but there's also a daughter in between those two, Helena. So we're introduced to Helena as well. Helena was fascinated by a millipede or whatever that she was kind of talking about, all of the different legs of the millipede and everything. It was weird. It kind of came out of nowhere, and that's like the only time we were introduced to her, and then we don't see her for the rest of the episode. But from some of the breakdowns that I watched, they said that this may be a little bit some foreshadowing into was going to go on in future episodes. But as of right now, taken out of context for someone who has no prior knowledge about the Game of Thrones, about the books, it was just sort of out of place.
It's Thrones, baby. You gotta take it. I don't know. Maybe she'll be a centipede superhero in Thrones.
I don't know.
There's a connection with what are the grass people, the children of the forest.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
It's Thrones.
But so we get all the boys. They go to the dragon pit because
the boys will be boys.
Yeah. So Luke, I think Luke is the younger one. Lucerys is the younger one, I believe. So they were trying to. So Luke was training with his dragon, trying to get the commands down, and so we see if this has not already been established, we see the command for. I don't want to butcher it by saying it, but Dracarys. That is for the command for the dragon to basically spit fire. And so we find the importance of this a little bit later on in the episode. But so Luke is basically trying to get more command of his dragon. And as we said, Aemon doesn't have a dragon. And so the kids, and it's so fucked up. They were like, we know that you don't have a dragon, but we found one for you. And so
they go where these little dragon eggs coming from anyway. Maybe they did find one. They might have a wild dragon out there.
And so they bring up a pig with wings just to fuck with him, calling it Pink Dread. But I mean, kids are cruel, especially little boys. The little boys are cruel. They're mean, and so they're messing with them and all this other kind of stuff.
That's a horrible generalization, but yeah,
And so, obviously, it's a little bit of contention because Alicent kind of takes it out on, or at least turns her anger towards Renira's kids. Like, they must have had something to do with it. And Renira's, I can't remember who she was talking to, but they were like, well, how do you know it wasn't your boys? Because obviously, your oldest son, he's had a dragon, so it could have been his idea. So we find Aegon. Aegon is standing butt naked in the fucking window, just jerking off to the wind, just not a care in the fucking world.
Hey, this dude pulling the Homelander before Homelander did it. This dude here is Thrones, baby. What is going on? And he was like really going to town.
Right.
And then your mom comes in.
But then she says nothing about it. It doesn't faze her in the slightest. So obviously he's done this before. And so Alicent tries to express
another Wednesday. Is that what you're saying?
Just another Wednesday. Just another Wednesday at King's Landing.
There's birds out here now. He's got little peasants walking by. These birds.
Right. Just like, what the hell? See him up in the fucking window. Like, goddamn Targaryens.
I hate these rich bitches. Should have never gave you money.
But yeah, so Alicent comes in. Alicent is basically expressing to him like, look, you are the future of the Targaryens. You are the future of this lineage. You need to get it into your head that you need to be serious about this. Because basically he was like, Renira is a princess. So why do I need to care about anything? And Alicent, you can see the words that Otto told her before Otto left, they stuck with her because this is 10 years later. And you can see how passionate she is about this. She's trying to groom Aegon to be ready to take the throne. And he's just doesn't care at this point. But so we can see that after she has this conversation with him, we go into the training grounds. Now Aegon is like fighting, like he's going up against this straw dummy and everything, and he's just like going at it, trying to put forth that energy. And so we see Viserys and his the Hand, and that is Sir
Mix-a-Lot?
Hightower. No, not Sir Mix-a-Lot. Which Hightower? No, not Hightower. So Strong. Lord Lionel Strong. That's what it is. Lord Strong. So he's the new hand. Lord Strong's the new hand. And so they're watching over the boys as they're training, and Viserys is happy because he's like, my sons, my grandsons, they're all training together. They're all going to be fierce knights. This is great. And so Sir Kristen is out there because he's training the boys, and we can see obviously he's a lot harder on Renira's kids than he is on Alicent's kids, because as we can, as we
some snitch fuck boy shit. A lot of fuck boys in Thrones, baby.
Oh, and we didn't even talk about the end of episode 5, where after Sir Kristen beat the shit out of Joffrey, he was like, "I know my career is over, so." Instead of being arrested or tried or anything like that,
I'm the way of the samurai.
Exactly. He's ready to commit what is called seppuku and take his sword to his gut and kill himself. But Alicent stops him. Alicent stops him from killing himself, and so and so now he's basically become Alicent's like personal bodyguard. I mean, for the most part. So he's sticking by Alicent's side. So he's sticking by Alicent's side. So of course he supports her and everything that she wants to do. And he even came out and just talking shit about Renira. Like they're walking down the hallway and he's just bad mouthing her. Caught up.
You might as well just
go in that Silk Sonic. This bitch. So we see that he's playing favorites. He's playing favorites to Alicent's kids. He's being an asshole to Rhaenyra's kids. And Sir Harwin Strong is out there and he's trying to stick up for Rhaenyra's kids. And so it gets to the point to where Sir Kristen is like, you know what? Fine. All right. Oldest versus oldest. Aegon versus Jacaerys. Y'all go at it. Spar. And so Jacaerys is visibly younger because Aegon is probably 13 at this point, 13 or 14. Jacaerys is maybe 8 or 9. So there's obviously an age difference. There's clearly a height difference. And so they start fighting. Jacaerys is trying to hold his own. But of course he's a little bit outmatched. He gets some separation. Sir Kristen takes Aegon to the side and is like, giving him tips and everything, like basically telling him to go for the kill. And so he's teaching him like dirty tactics, like basically like use the dummy, use your feet, kick him and all this other kind of stuff. And Sir Harwin jumps in and is like, bro, what the fuck? It's like they're kids, they're sparring. And you're going to teach them to fight like this, to basically go for the kill, no compassion or anything. And so Sir Kristen, again, the petty motherfucker that he is, he's like, I don't know. You seem like awfully defensive of these kids. Like normally somebody wouldn't act like that unless it was, maybe a cousin or a brother or a son.
Hey,
and
petty motherfucker. Yeah,
that sets Sir Harwin off. Sir Harwin is like, you know what, motherfucker? He just turns around, punches him in the face, starts beating him. Basically, basically the same way that Kristen went after Joffrey. Harwin goes after Kristen, starts beating him in the face. The rest of the other Knights Guard, they grab him off of him. He's like, say it again, say it one more time. And Kristen like, he's basically like, I achieved what I wanted to do. He's like, I figured as much. He's like, I struck a nerve. I would not have struck a nerve if these weren't your kids. And so obviously now, everybody's gonna know. And so Sir Harwin is like, all right, basically I gotta go. Well, basically his dad, Lord Lionel, is basically saying, you are
embarrassing me in these streets, boy.
Literally, it is not verbatim, but that is literally what he was saying. You are the head of the king, baby. I can't be out here looking like this,
trying to get my heart broke. You know what I'm saying? You got to get out of here, dude. You got to go.
And basically, and even still after all of that, Harwin still is not admitting that those are his kids, but obviously we all know.
Even the hand of the king, like, look, dude, look. I'm gonna go ahead and step down because you know that's my kids or grandkids, right? I mean, I know. So I'm just letting you know that I know that you know that I know. Them, we gonna go ahead and get them on out of here.
Right.
I'm gonna step down, but then Valerius was like, nah. Okay.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that So all of this happens in the courtyard. They come and tell Renira, it is like, hey, we had an incident in the courtyard. You need to come quick.
Right.
And so she goes and even before all of this happens, fucking Lenore comes in with his new boo, this other dude.
Hey, y'all.
And so he comes in, he's obviously drunk, and he's talking about the Stepstones are, they're under attack again. There's going to be another war. And he's like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to get back in the battle. And so Renira's like, no, because shit is about to go down and you want to run away to go fight and leave me to have to deal with all of this. And Lenore is like, I'm a knight, motherfucker. This is what I do. And so Renira had to pull rank on him. Like, as princess, as heir to the throne, I forbid you, or what she said, I command you to remain here with me.
By my side.
By my side. And so, Lenore doesn't have anything else that he could do.
Like a puppy.
Yeah, and so basically, they tell Renira that there's this issue. She goes to try to figure out what's going on. She runs to Lord Lionel and Sir Harwin. They're talking. Lionel's giving him an earful. Like you said, you out here embarrassing me in these streets. Like, obviously there's a problem going on. It's like, why won't you just come out and say it? Sir Harwin won't come out and admit it, but Renira overhears all of this. She sees the problems that's happening. She knows everybody's talking, and it's becoming a problem. And so... like you said, Lord Lionel goes to King Viserys. He says, look, I can't be your hand anymore. It's like, I have a conflict of interest. There's stuff going on. I can't be impartial, so I'm relinquishing my duties. And Viserys was like, okay, well, if you're stepping down, tell me the reason why. Let me know exactly why you're stepping down. And Allison, again, petty number 2, petty Betty back here, like, let me know. Why are you stepping down? Tell us in plain speak exactly why are you stepping down.
That's a Karen move. I ain't never seen a Karen move. She had that Karen move and laid that Karen move straight up. She was LeBron with Karen. She was like, what? Say it loud for the bitches in the bed. I was like, damn. But
Lord Lionel basically says, you know what? I can't tell you. And so Viserys says, well, if you can't tell me why you're stepping down, then I'm not accepting your resignation. Clear as that. And you see Allison just kind of deflate because she's trying to get him out.
Otto lost his pen.
But she's trying to get Lionel out so she can get Otto back in. And so since Viserys doesn't accept his resignation, Lionel is like, basically, okay, well, if you want to accept my resignation, at least let me take some time off so I can bring my son back home. He's the heir to the throne. He needs to get back to his responsibilities to House Strong. And so Viserys is like, okay, go handle your business. So they leave. Since Sir Harwin is not going to be there anymore, and he was basically like the protection between Renira and all of the looky-loos, everybody that's kind of like talking shit. And so Renira goes to Lenore and is like, look, he's outside, he's sparring with his new boyfriend and everything. And so Renira goes out there and she's like, look, we got to get out of here. Yeah. Shit's about to go crazy. We gotta go.
It don't even make no sense to stay to think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And so she was like, and so Lenore was like, well, I thought you said that we're, a good sailor, rides out the storm. And so she repeated his words.
That shit I was saying. This is what I'm saying right now.
She repeated his words to him. She's like, a smart sailor leaves before, leaves at the signs of the coming storm. So he like, all right, I guess. And so he was kind of looking back to his dude. And so she was like, you can bring him. We're going to need, she said, we'll need all the swords that we need. And clever. So, yeah, and, clever wordplay. And so, of course, they're happy because, of course, he didn't want to leave his man. And so she's like, he can come too. It's fine. I don't care. Like, well, we just really need to get out of here. So they're going to what is it? Dragonstone, Dragon's Keep. Whatever the name of the castle. Yeah, dragon something.
It's Thrones, baby. It's dragon. Just put dragon in front of anything you want to talk about.
So again, we have our A story, we have our B story, we have our C story. So our A story is Renira dealing with, her kids, their kids being, illegitimate children. Even her son asks after Sir Harwin leaves, who's like, is Sir Harwin my father? Am I a bastard?
Damn it, man. The word hits so hard. It's like, I know in Thrones, bastard is, first of all, in Thrones, it's a shame to be a bastard. It ain't like, in reality, like your dad ain't there. Oh, boo hoo, so sad. Get out of my way. I'm trying to get my Starbucks. This is some shit that you have to wear. Like, you don't know who your daddy is. Right. Like, you all have, I don't respect you at all. Like, you can't give me change. Like, it's really, like, you took money from that bastard? It's like, God damn. Just because I don't know who my daddy is?
You're right. That don't make me any less of a person. Shit. Damn.
In Thrones, you do. You better not be a bastard. You could be a dwarf or something else. But
right. As long as your daddy is who he's supposed to be, you're fine.
Right. Yeah. You don't have no bloodline, no lineage that you can be traced to. Oh my God. You're what? Did the bastard say something? thought a bastard said something.
I thought I heard a bastard talking. What
Where is that noise coming from? No, a bastard ain't trying to tell me nothing. See, that's some hard shit.
But then, like I said, again, it just baffles me how Renira thought that she would be able to get away with all of this. I don't understand it. Like, how she didn't think that this was going to catch up to her eventually.
And her son knows.
You're right, and her son knows now. But so she still doesn't even outwardly say it. She just basically says, "You are a Targaryen, and that's all that matters. And you are my son." And I mean, that's true. But still.
You're a bastard, my boy. That's a hard life. You can't even get dirt on. He's like, "That dirty bastard."
And so,
my people.
So that's our A story. Our B story is basically Alicent trying to figure out how she can expose Renira, because Alicent is on this path, this war path. She was like, I know the truth. Nobody else wants to listen to me and believe me when I say that this is the truth. So she's going to Mr. Clubfoot himself, Sir Larys.
You got to think about it too. There's retribution in this for having her father lose his job. I mean, they got some benefits of being in the hand of the king. You know, I'm pretty sure you can go on a Denny's and get you a grand slam for nothing. You know,
but it's like, you marry my dad, I make your dad lose his job. You know, it's kind of like, who's on top and all at the end of all of this?
It's messy. It's messy as shit. It's Basketball Wives Medieval Edition. That's how it is. It's Love and Hip Hop Meant Dragons. That's what this is.
Real Housewives of Westeros.
There you go. This shit's horrible, man.
It's ridiculous.
A train wreck I can't turn away from. It's strong, baby. Strong.
But so we see that Alicent has been talking to Larys. Apparently, Larys knows all the gossip. He knows everything that's going on in the castle. Obviously, he knows that the kids aren't Rhaenyra's. And so the Strongs are going back, because this is Sir Harwin's brother. This is Sir Lionel's other son. You know, he doesn't have a claim to the throne because he's the second son. And this is so kind of, there's a pattern going throughout the episodes about these second sons.
What might that pattern be?
These second sons don't get no respect, and that's what we're showing, because we look at Damon. Damon is the second son. He's Viserys's brother. Viserys is the king. Damon, it's not that nobody respects Damon, but of course Damon feels like he's being overlooked. So everything that he's doing is trying to get attention from it.
He's a great warrior and
he is a great warrior. He's a great fighter. He's very calculating. He's very smart.
Over Dragonstone, he can be a king there.
I mean, I don't know. But so we see Damon's the second son. We find out that Corlys is the second son, because they have that conversation like, we second sons, we have to, basically stop being overlooked. We have to carve out our own path. We have to forge a name for ourselves. And now we see that Aemon is the second son. Aemon doesn't have a dragon. So Aemon is getting made fun of because, he isn't seen as, as formidable or anything, because everybody wants Aegon to be the heir to the throne. So if Aegon gets all the attention, what's happening with Aemon? Nothing. He's basically just there. And the fact that he doesn't even have a dragon is like,
the fact that they named him Aiden in the first place is just he started out bad. It's just not a
like,
name that you're gonna put
you're,
that on a business
you're not as good as your brother. That's basically what they're telling him when they named him that.
Hey, they're right. So I don't know. You don't even have a dragon, dude. Come on, right?
And not only do we see that in the second sons, but we see in the second daughters as well. Because our C storyline is Damon and his wife, because he's now married to Princess. What is her name? Not Lenore. His sister, Lenore's sister, Lenice. No, not Lenice. Yep. I'm looking at these fucking names. There's so many names. What is her name? Lena. Lena is her name.
That's what I would have said if I knew
it. Lenore's sister, Lena. Damon is now married to Lena. We saw that they had a brief. Right? Why?
Because, baby, he likes him, y'all. Yeah, baby, he likes him, y'all.
And so we saw that they were having a conversation at the night of Renira's wedding. He kind of pulled her aside. They were sitting at opposite ends of the table. They were making eyes at each other and all this other kind of stuff. So we see that they're married.
The dragon. Well, she's a dragon rider.
Right, she's a dragon rider herself. But so we saw...
That's so nasty.
But we...
They so nasty, Spider. Why y'all so nasty?
But even with their kids, because they have 2 daughters now, and then Lena is pregnant with another child. But we see that even with their kids, the second daughter, even though they're twins, but I think the one who doesn't have a dragon, it might have been born second. But she even said that, dad ignores me. Father ignores me. Father doesn't pay attention to me. So it's like these second born children are just getting the short end of the stick, like whether they're boys or girls. And so we see Laris. Laris has to basically... Mm-hmm.
Are you saying this because you're a second born child?
I mean, a second born to my mother, yes. But I'm not saying this. I don't feel like I got ignored. I feel like if anything, I was... You know what? I'm not about to get into my personal life in this podcast.
It's Thrones, baby. It's Thrones.
But
spoiler alert, there are dragons in the show.
But so Laris is basically, he's having tea with the queen, so he's in her ear, all this other kind of stuff, and Allison is confiding in her, and so he's like, she's basically just saying, I wish my father was here because nobody listens to me. She's like, and Laris was even trying to be impartial. He was like, well, if your father was here, he wouldn't be impartial. She's like, he'd be partial to me. He would take my side. And so he's like, okay, all right, I got you.
Your wish is granted. It's like a monkey ball.
Honestly, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. And so Laris takes it upon himself and said, okay, well, obviously the queen needs some support. He's like, I'm in your corner. I'm on your side. I listen to you. All right, but we're gonna make it so we'll get you some more support. So he goes to these criminals, murderer, a thief, a person who was what do you say? He was what's the word I'm looking for? Basically he was going against the throne, a traitor to the throne. A traitor to the throne. He finds these men in prison. He was like, look, y'all are all about to be sentenced to death. I can stop you from being sentenced to death, but you got to do something for me. So the first thing he does, cuts out their tongue. Like, look, what y'all about to do, you can't say anything to anybody about it. But he sends them on a mission.
They basically know how to read and write back then, so they're cutting off their tongue. That was it. That was your communication. They don't even think they had sign language back then.
No.
But I think we all know what this means.
Right.
You don't need a tongue for that.
But so he basically created his own like mercenary hit squad. And so he hired them. They went to the House Strong castle, and they basically burned the bitch down. They burned Sir Harwin, they burned Lord Lionel, they trapped them in their rooms, burned the castle down, killed them. So Laris killed his own family to where now
father and brother.
So now not only does the king not have a hand, but House Strong doesn't have a lord. He being the second son, he's now the lord of House Strong. So not only is he helping the queen, but he's on the come up as well. And so we see that after all of this happened, Allison is smart. Allison is like, y'all didn't just have a fire at y'all castle for no reason. She's like, you did that. And so he was like, look, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but it's a favor to you. And if you don't want me telling anybody anything, then you might want to keep your mouth shut about it. And I might be getting repaid, not now, not tomorrow, not next week, maybe just sometime in the future. You'll see it.
I'll let your boy.
Right.
Remember that shit I did? Yeah. Remember that I did that favor for you? No, that was not for me, but you benefited. You profited off it.
Exactly.
So you don't need those type of people in your circle, man. I'm trying to tell you, that's a bad juju right there. Because, like you said, he's on the come up. Might be one of my favorite characters. I don't know why. I like guys that is in the background, whispering in the shadows. Because Littlefinger was the one on Game of Thrones that was doing it on that version. He seems to be more in the slithering group of Hogwarts than anybody else.
And it's so funny how his character is portrayed, because not only does he have a disability, but we saw for Aegon Celebration, he willingly, he's like, look, I can't go out on the hunt. I'm not fit to go out on the hunt. So ladies, can I sit with you? Can I just do you mind if I just sit and listen to the gossip? So he's sitting there listening to all of this stuff that's going on. He's hearing all the stories about everything that's going on in the kingdom. And so his character just seems slimy. He seems slithery. He's like a snake. He just seems very deceitful. And he has this,
I am to be wrong. And the way he looked at Alice is like, oh my God, get this guy a medal and dip that same medal in gold again and then give it to him because he's acting his ass off. I'm like, now, damn it, man, it's Thrones.
Yeah. But so the last part, again, our C storyline in episode 6 is we have Damon, we have Lena, they're off. They're away from home. They're off in this other land, and basically the guy is saying that, well, the lord of this land, he's basically saying that Aegon, your ancestor, he came to our aid. He saved us with dragons. We want you. Aegon the Conqueror, not Prince Aegon, who's pranking his brother with a pig right now.
They fly too, so I heard,
But so he's basically saying, Damon, I want you and your family to stay here. We'll put you up in this mansion. We'll give you money. We'll give you anything that you want. But basically, we want you to be our show of force. Basically, let's tell people, hey, we have dragons. We are not to be fucked with. So make sure nothing happens to us. Lena doesn't want to do that. Lena wants to go back to Driftwood. Lena wants her kids to be raised in Driftwood, her homeland. Damon is like, fuck it. I want to stay here. I want to get money, be away from the politics. I don't have to worry about the throne. I don't have to worry about the king. He said
something that was so intelligent for its time. He was like, I don't have to worry about schemers. I don't have to worry about manipulators and people behind my back plotting. And you can see that he was really kind of done with it, because even though she insisted on we going back, he really wasn't trying to hear that.
No, he didn't budge at all.
And it's like, I want to go back. And he was like,
It's just not even a response. You're like, okay. It's just went back to his book. Yeah, sure, all right.
You're gonna make sandwiches now? Is that what's gonna happen? You're gotta fly out there to KFC and pick something up? What's going on?
Right. But basically, Lena, we see that we're introduced. Lena is flying on her dragon. Damon is flying on his dragon. They're basically performing for these people. And Lena's like, I don't want to be here and be like these puppets, these showrunners just performing for people, like doing dragon tricks. Like, this is not what I want to do. Like she said, I want to go back to Driftwood. I want to raise my kids in the land where I was raised. I want them to be a part of the same culture that I was a part of. And she basically tells Damon, she's like, you say that you're done with your lineage, but you're sitting here teaching our daughter Old Valyrian. Like, you know, how can you say that you're done with it, but you're still sticking to these old customs and these old ways and everything? And so she's like, I want to go back to our lineage of Old Valyria. I want to go back to our home. And Damon, as defined as he is like, our home is dead. We don't belong anywhere. And when she said, I want to go back to where we belong, he's like, our home is gone. We don't belong anywhere. So we can go wherever we want to go. You know, you can kind of see both sides of it, because it's like, if Damon is truly done with all of this, and after 10 years, you would think all of the politic and all of this other kind of stuff, like maybe he is like, you know what, that whole thing with Renira going on, you know, Allison and all of this stuff, you know, I'm done with all of that. You know, it's like,
I almost suck my knee. So, you know, I go down to King's Landing, you know, that I get to drink, and you know how I get,
right?
You know, so I'm really
like,
trying to.
Do you really want me to go back there, get
You
drinking
really want me to
again?
go back there, you know what I'm saying? They got some demons back there, man. I'm good now. I'm clean now. It's good. Let me just dance with a dragon around. We get paid. I could chill. You could chill. Raise these kids.
Right.
And she's like, no, these streets be calling me. I'm like, what? It's crazy, man.
and so another thing, and which was like, kind of
these meadows be calling me.
What was kind of surprising to me is that this whole time we've seen Damon, or we've seen reference to Damon's impotence, right? The mistress that he had, he couldn't get it done with her. We were alluding that when he was with Renira, he couldn't get it done with her. And it was like, and all of this time,
a black woman to come into his life and show him how to get it right. I'm just saying about Thrones, baby. Y'all can put up whatever spin on it y'all want to. She was black, not the bronze one that he didn't like. You know, she was fake bronze. So he got a real bronze, started popping off them babies. I'm just saying what I saw.
They have two daughters at this point. And so now Lena is pregnant with a third. She's getting ready to have the baby.
And
so
you think it was a boy? Could it have been a boy?
It could have been a boy.
Could it have been a girl? I don't know. I got 3 girls.
But yeah, but we don't know. And so another thing that Lena said is that she didn't want to live with basically, I forget what she called him, but like she was like, I don't want you to be like just fat and, you know, like just kind of sitting around and not doing anything. I want to like be a part of, you know, all the happenings, all the goings on. And she said, I want to die a dragon rider's death. So basically saying she still wants to live a life of adventure. She just don't want to sit around and just get paid to basically do nothing. She still wants to be a part of the battle.
The meadows. The meadows and valleys.
The meadows and valleys are calling her.
Dirt roads.
But so she's getting ready to have the baby. They can't get the baby to come out. And so in a parallel to what we saw in episode 1,
boom,
the maester says that, you know, we can't get the baby to come out, but we can cut open the womb. We can get the baby out. But he tells Damon, he was like, I'm not sure the baby would survive. And so Damon asked, will the mother survive it? And he says no. And so we see Damon.
Well, we already seen how this goes.
Right. We already seen how this goes. And so we see Damon sort of not necessarily give an answer, but I think I saw him kind of like shake his head like no, like he didn't want to do it.
You're making so many people go back and watch this now.
You're going to have to go back and watch it, because I think there was a subtle shake of his head. It wasn't like an emphatic no, but I think there was like a subtle shake of his head. Like, no, he didn't want to go through that. And that's that parallel, that difference between him and Viserys. How Viserys was so fixated on having a boy, so he could have an heir to the throne, that he was willing to sacrifice his wife in order to get the boy. He was so sure that that was going to be a boy, and it was a boy. But you know,
everything he wanted in a worse way.
Right, in a worse way. And so Lena overhears this, and she's like, obviously the baby's not coming out. This is going to kill me. I don't want to die giving birth to a child only to, and you know, she was a child like way back when that happened, but she may still have some memory of it. She might still remember how Emma died. And so she may have it in her mind, like, I don't want to go out that way. Still, I want to die a dragon rider's death. And so she goes out to her dragon in tears, in pain. This is a woman that is in labor. You saw how far she had to walk to get to that damn dragon.
When your mama tell you I had to walk barefoot, uphill, both ways, she was telling the truth because they ain't had no shoes back then.
But so she leaves. She goes out to her dragon. She calls out, like we said, Dracatus. That command, it's important. She kneels in front of her dragon. And I thought that, you know, I didn't think that the dragon was going to do it. I thought the dragon was like...
No, because you got to remember, this is an impression from youth. They imprint upon each other. And it's like asking your dog to bite you viciously.
Right.
And usually the dog bites the hands that feed them don't have a home long.
Right.
But if there's real love there, that's one of the hardest things that's transpiring. And when that dragon opened up his mouth and spit out that hellfire, I have to ask the question: is this a dragon rider's death?
I think that's what it is. I think that's a dragon rider's death.
I think falling off a dragon in the air is how a lot of them go. If they roll, you're not holding on tight enough.
You just tip off the side. Like, whoa.
That's a dragon rider death right there. That's one that I want to be a part of. Not getting burned. Screw that.
Yeah, I think that what she did was like a dragon rider suicide or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, just wrap me up with meat and let me just get eaten again. I probably would have preferred that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Burned like that.
Yeah,
but she went out on her own terms.
Yeah,
and that's
what she wanted. She wanted to go out on her own terms, and so she did that. And the thing about it is, while I was watching the episode, I was just looking at it, and I was like, while they were having dinner, and they were being, you know, this proposal was offered to them about them staying there and them, you know, basically just protecting this realm and everything. And I'm just looking at it, I'm like, I can't see Damon as a father. It's like, I know he has children, and it's not to say that he's not, you know, performing, but it's just everything that we've seen of Damon up to this point, he has not shown any caring qualities. He's not shown anything like he loves someone. Man. He had a wife. He didn't care about his wife.
That's old news, man. That's 10 years ago.
No,
man.
but this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
That's 10 years ago, man. Come on, we had a different president back then and everything, man. Come on, man. We changed presidents twice, man. Come on, what are you talking about? People can't grow. They can't evolve.
What I'm saying is that when I first saw it, I had that in my mind because of everything that we knew about Damon. I didn't see any parental qualities in him, but we see that after they had dinner, he's sitting there with his daughter. He's teaching her old Valyrian. And it's like, oh, okay. He obviously cares about these kids.
Well, shout out to Damon for inventing Duolingo before Duolingo did. Hey, man, teach that old Valyrian, baby. It's strong. So
but after Lena dies, we see that, of course, the kids are heartbroken because their mother's dead, but he doesn't show them any compassion. He doesn't console them. He kind of just walks off. And it's just,
everybody agrees
that's true. Everybody agrees differently. And it just, I guess, begs the question, like, how much love did he have for Lena?
That's the one thing that I want to say, though. I think you could see that his love for her was very different, probably because he hadn't really been that compassionate and open with a lot of other characters on the show. Mm-hmm. So you see a contrast, you see a difference. He does seem less assholish to her.
Right, yeah.
Right. But I don't think they dove enough deep into their relationship to show that there was actual love there. Like, I don't think he was accepting the fact that I think he was trying to figure out how to save his wife, even if it cost him his child.
Yeah.
I think that's the more direct, because again, they're painting Damon in a very defined light that's not ubiquitous on either side. It's like he's good enough to be a good guy and bad enough to be a bad guy, but he doesn't do things just to do things. He do
Right.
things with a purpose.
There's a reason behind them. And the thing about it is, just in the past 2 episodes, we're introduced to Damon's wife only to have them almost immediately die.
It's Thrones, baby. Told you in the beginning. Don't fall in love with a character. Your favorite character gonna be gone. And you thinking, well, this is show it's around this character. No, it's not. It's Thrones. They kill his ass off and they go get somebody else that's more menacing. And you're like, damn, I thought he was somebody. He ain't shit. God damn. You just go in the public, just go jerk off in the window, huh? Okay. Birds.
Oh, but so these last 2 episodes, just I know there's been a lot going on in the season.
We didn't even talk about how Renira and the Queen
Alicent
was Alicent. We're talking about bringing the houses together as a union, and Alicent was like, "We'll take that under advisement."
Right.
Not really fucking with you right now.
Yeah. So like we said before, Renira and Alicent, they are now welcomed onto the council. They can speak freely. They have their opinions being heard as well. And so they're getting through. Again, they're talking about the stepstones. They're having these differing opinions. Alicent is more of Viserys' standpoint and saying, hey, the stepstones, that's, they'll be able to handle their own thing. We're not trying to get into a war with anybody. And Renira was like, look, we tried that last time and we got overran. We almost lost our entire fleet. We need to go to war. We need to, like Damon did it. And so Alicent, they're going back and forth like, yeah, Damon did it. And then he proclaimed himself king of the stepstones. And then he left it unprotected. He could have set up armaments, set up blockades, set up fortresses, protected the area or something, but he didn't do anything about it. And so Alicent is like, Renira is like, all right, you kind of got me on that one. But basically just saying
Damon was on that. I don't, but you type shit to the stepstones once he got. The stepstones ain't really a good piece of land I'd be worrying about anyway. If you really get into the Game of Thrones lore, it's like a little bunch of islands that you can't really do shit with. Mm-hmm. It's just perfect for crab people to grow into a cave and come out and really do nothing. It's shit land. Put it like that. It's just shit land. So it's not like, again, Damon do things as calculated. He went down there because the crab feeder was a threat.
Right.
He didn't really give a shit about the land.
Like, he didn't want the land. He wasn't trying to be the ruler of the stepstones. He was just like, look, he was like, I'm trying to garner favor with everybody by saying Viserys not doing shit. We're getting our asses kicked in stepstones. Viserys isn't doing shit, so I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna be the savior, so everybody's gonna love me. And when that didn't work out,
but with that, that was at the time that he was actively trying to kind of go for the throne,
right?
And he's kind of on and he's off because again, when he was gone, he came back with land. With treasure and gave it all to his brother.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not capable of carving out a little piece of happiness for himself. It's just interesting that he kind of keeps coming back to this reality of sitting on the Iron Throne.
Yeah. And so
I don't know. Maybe it's fate, maybe it's destiny.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody wrote a book.
Well, like you said, so Alicent and Renira, they're going back and forth, and they finally just kind of come to an impasse, and they're like, all right, so right now we can't agree on anything, so let's, they were saying, Viserys is old, he's falling apart, so like the king needs to rest, so let's call this meeting at an end, we'll come back, we'll talk about it another day. Everybody gets up to leave. Before they leave, Renira's like, wait, before you go, look, I just want to apologize. I know we haven't been seeing eye to eye, so I want to offer a truce. So how about, for show of force, my son Jacaerys, we betroth him to your daughter Helena. We unite the houses. Targaryens are one again, and then, Jacaerys will be the heir to the throne after me.
And it's not really kind of like incest because, because
it's
Alicent's in there.
It's basically her son is going to be marrying his aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked. It worked for Jon Snow for a little bit.
I mean,
yeah.
That's neither here nor there. But
it's
like
thrills,
you said, but like you said, Allison basically took that as like, let's think about it. And basically, I'll take it under advisement. And then it kind of got cut short because Renira started lactating and she was kind of like leaking through her dress.
Why did lactating shame that baby, man? She's gonna be lactating. That shit, the things happen like that, man. You just gotta watch this. Pull up a cup and get some pina colada or something. Well, you don't shame a woman for that. That's not what you do.
But so, and another thing is that, of course, Viserys hears this. Viserys is like, this is a great idea. Viserys is smiling. He is like, this is the best thing that I've heard all day. And so when they're leaving,
like three blinks away from death.
And not only that, do you notice his arm is gone?
I did not notice that.
He has lost his whole left arm because we noticed in the last episode he only had these two fingers. These two fingers were gone, and his hand was starting to get worse. And now his whole left arm is gone.
That's that gout. That's all that is. That's that gout. He got gout.
But the thing about it is, if you remember, the old maester were basically saying, put the leeches on. Put the leeches on. The leeches have always been helping them. But the thing about it is, that old maester is gone. There's the young guy, the younger black guy, who's like, look, I have these healing potions that I could give him that might help him. He was like, nah, don't worry about that. The leech is going to always help him. But that guy's gone. The younger black guy, he's taking his place on the council now. He's a little bit older, so I'm wondering if, because the old maester is gone,
we'll use some common sense,
right? But so if that's the reason why Viserys is, he might have lost the arm, but he's actually still alive now because I think the old maester still had his way. Viserys would be dead by now.
Doctor, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm just saying he reads. That's like. The leeches has always served your grace.
No, the leeches have always made his grace feel better. Like, no, this dude was laying in the bathtub like half dead. Leeches ain't helping.
The leeches are bringing some type of infection.
But his whole arm is gone. But they're walking up the stairs, and so Viserys is basically telling Alicent, he's like, this is a great idea. Why do you not agree with this? And so Alicent is like, she feels the earth being washed away from under her feet. So of course she's going to offer up everything that she has in order for us to not out her transgressions. And so Viserys is saying,
Viserys is like, why are you bringing up old shit, man? Like, so, you know what I'm saying? You know what the shit you saying? Can somebody hear the shit you saying? You guys go fuck everything up. Like,
right?
Why you own this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you refuse to see your daughter out here doing what she doing, and you like, man, why you even own this shit, man? Like, come rub this nub.
Oh my god! But Viserys is basically saying, like, I think that this is a great idea and I think we should do it. And Alicent looks him dead in the eye and said, you can do what you want when I am cold and dead in my grave. And walks off. In other words, I'm not allowing this to happen.
And she's the queen. So unless you're about to kill a queen, it ain't gonna happen.
No.
I don't know what to tell you. You about 2 naps away from the final sleep anyway. You know what I'm saying? I think you just need to hold on, dude. Call that black doctor in there and see if he can get the
help you out a little bit. But so House of the Dragon, episode 5, episode 6. Of course, we have to ask the question. I think we already know the answer, so we probably don't even have to discuss it much. But these 2 episodes, are they super? Are they super?
Come on, man. The only thing that I'm going to say that is starting to become, and I guess is going to stop now because we're going to stick on these adult actors, the cast with the young actors did such a phenomenal job.
Agreed.
I would like to have seen more of them. I would have liked to see more of the story, like you said, when the first Joffrey was brutally attacked and murdered. I wanted to stay in that. I wanted to see how would this relationship work, knowing that your knight, your personal guard, attacked and he didn't just beat him, he murdered him, barehanded, murdered him.
Right.
And now we're forced to be married, and all that just doesn't go away.
Right.
Even
you
in
think that
10 years, that really doesn't just go away.
Right. And you would think that there would have had to have been some type of repercussions. Like this was not something that was done in private and people only kind of heard, got wind of, heard whispers of. This was done in a very public way. Like almost every house in Westeros was in attendance at that feast. So of course everybody knows what happened, and then you see Sir Kristen now. He's the personal knight or the personal guard to the queen. It's like, how you beat a dude in cold blood and you get a promotion,
right? Because I'm just saying, I know a dude need a job. I'm just saying, for a friend, he trying to come up, because that's crazy. And again. Yeah. He'll snitch. I ain't really got no love home, but he's right there next to the queen. You got to think about Alicent is really gathering her soldiers. If you haven't noticed, she got somebody that's willing to murder for her at the thought of murder for her. Boss-ish, real boss shit. And then the guy that's going to be so puppy love drunk with affection, he'll murder somebody. You got a daytime and a nighttime. And she got an army ready for a war.
Right. The whole of House Hightower, they said that they support her. They have her back.
Queen. Notice the chess game. King's dead. When it moved on. But Renira
Queen is the most powerful piece on the board.
Exactly. Well, Renira has what? Because right now, at the end of this episode, she'll probably have Damon, because they're going to, again, he's gone. Her love interest is gone. His love interest is gone. His thrones. We're rooting for them to go ahead and have
Renira's love interest isn't, her love interest as far as Sir Hightower. Yeah. Well, not Sir Hightower. So strong. Sir, he's burned it. Yeah. I'm thinking. I was thinking of her husband. I was thinking of Laenor, but no, Laenor is not her love interest. Laenor is just her husband. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. So
Yeah. And he's already lost so much.
And again, I'm with you. Like you said, just like I agree with you 100%. I really feel like we know that there's going to be multiple seasons of House of Dragons. So why do we have to keep doing all these long time jumps when we can't spend a little bit more time with these characters? And then we could have finished out the entire season with young Renira and young Alicent, and then next season we could have started off with a time jump, but we could have spent, like you said, a little bit more time kind of diving into
even mid-season, because there's so much other stuff that we could have. No. I mean, like mid-season, season 2, and then time jump older, and that would have been fine. But at the same time, because we love it so much, we feel like we're missing out on so much.
Right. There's so many unanswered questions that we, or at least for those who have not read the books and have not gotten all the additional details, you feel like you're missing out on that information.
Listen, I'm not going to the Thrones Wikipedia page to try to fill in the blanks. I'm going to watch the show, though. I'm going to watch the show and all the incest that's a part of it. Not that I'm into that, but I'm into it's Thrones.
Right. You're into the story. You're not into what they're doing. I
am into the story. Listen, the story is top notch. Is it super? Goddamn right it is. It's Thrones.
It is absolutely super.
I'm not reading the Thrones book, though. I read Harry Potter and Thrones the same week, and I won't do either one that I just said. But I watched the show. What? I'll watch the show and I'll comment on the show because it's Thrones, baby. Yeah. Is it super, Spider?
Yeah, absolutely, it's super. Yeah, and like I said, the only
Alicent's your favorite character, isn't it?
Alicent is quickly becoming my favorite character. Like in the beginning half of the season, Renira was my favorite character because, of course, that's who we were focusing on the most. And it's fun to see that person who kind of scoffs at authority, breaks the rules, but still is able to get away with it, who's very headstrong, is able to do what you want to do.
You're a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, I can tell.
I was a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. But no, Alicent is, she's quickly becoming my favorite character because she has this motivation, her transformation, her character development. I feel like she's the one that's developed the most out of these episodes, from where she started in...
Why? Because she's in the streets? Why? Because she out there putting up Megan Thee Stallion numbers? What's going on? Why?
What are you talking about?
You say Allison.
Allison, yes, Allison. No, Allison has
Renira.
had the character progression. No, if anything, I feel like Renira has reverted back to her old ways. I don't feel like she's grown at all. I feel like if anything, she's just learned how to become more manipulative, and it's coming to bite her in the ass. Because, like I said, the only problem that I had with this episode 6 is that I don't understand why Renira would think that she could get away with this for so long. Like, I don't, like, as smart as you have been portrayed, why did you think that this was going to be okay? Why did you think that people were just going to say, oh, because you're the heir, you're the princess, you can do what you want to do, you can have these bastard kids, and then nobody's going to say anything about it?
She knows about tradition, she knows about duty. So yeah, I actually agree with you wholeheartedly, 100%, and then that extra little 10% on the side of that, because this is not something that you can hide. Even if it was the first situation, yeah. Let's say you had one kid and they didn't quite look like you. That's room for speculation. Maybe the murmurs are small.
Right.
But the third time, you know that ain't his kids, right? You know, they don't even look like Targaryen's got that white hair. They don't even look like the kids.
And then for none of them, like I was saying, you have 3 kids by this guy, and none of them have your hair. None of them have blonde hair. None of them have your traits as a Targaryen. But like I was saying, I feel like Allison, from where we first met Allison in the first episode, she was so nervous. She was so stressed ridden that she was picking at her hands, picking at her nails, and all this other kind of stuff. To go from that person to this queen who is walking around commanding a room, is like, look, y'all are gonna understand, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all need to listen to what I'm saying, because I'm not just here to be the queen, I'm here to show you exactly what's going on, and somebody needs to be on my side, because I'm the only one that sees the truth, but nobody wants to admit it. And it's like,
God saw the truth. Look at God. Look at God. God did.
But to see her from episode 1 to episode 6, even within, like, just, she's progressed so much. Because even when her dad, when Sir Otto first started, like, look, go to Viserys, console him, be a friend, reach out to him. Even at the beginning, she was like, oh, I don't really know. You know, this is Rhaenyra's dad. I don't really want to do that. And then she just it became easier and easier and easier. This is where now she's firmly planted as the queen, and she's coming into her own as a queen. Because even when we saw when they were first married and she was pregnant with Aemon, she already had Aegon, and they went to Aegon's feast, and she's kind of like sort of standoffish with the rest of the women, because they didn't really treat her like, they revered to her as queen, but as far as respecting her, they didn't show her that respect as a queen. They were like, oh, you know, we'll bow to you, your grace, you're the queen. But they really treat her as like, you're the queen in title only, and that's it. Everything else we'll defer to Viserys, but we're not really going to go to you for anything. And so she had to come into her own as a queen. And so I love that character progression that she's had. And so regardless of petty Betty, she's petty 100%. She's 100% petty.
That's what jealousy does, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not gonna bow to you. I mean, I ain't gonna call her queen to her behind her back. I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna call her queen to her face.
Right. You know what? He came around. I ain't say shit. But when she leave, I be talking again.
Oh God! I'm not gonna call her queen, but she's not there. Oh my God!
When she not around, queen? You mean Allison? That's Allison to me. I ain't my queen. Hashtag not my queen. I'm still with Queen Emma. Queen Emma would have never done that. But yeah, man, no, this show is super. It's absolutely super. The episodes get better and better. We look forward to it every week. There's so much more that we're going to get into. We only have 4 episodes left, so there's going to be a lot going on in these last 4 episodes.
Stop time jumping, because next thing they're going to be in wheelchairs and shit. Get dragging, going to have a goddamn license plate. It's going to be in the future. Shit. it, man. Let us enjoy the story. Slow that fucking down.
Yeah, but like you said, I think that now that we've gotten this major time jump, we're going to be dealing with the story of the adults now because not only are we having with the adults, but we got the kids too. Like, we don't want to time jump, and the next thing you know, we see the kids are adults now. Like, Aegon's already a teenager. I think Helena might be close to a teenager.
Well, spoiler warning: these kids die. God damn it, all over God, you might come back next week. All these kids dead. This is can't load none of these characters. Anybody can go. Listen, you watch the first season of like the regular Game of Thrones. There were pools at events
about who's gonna die next.
like a dead pool. People will die. You didn't know your favorite character gonna be gone next week. You don't even know. It's like, damn, man. Just love this show.
All right.
Game of Thrones, House of Dragons, HBO Max, HBO Plus, HBO Extreme, HBO Sports, HBO Super. I mean, HBO got it.
HBO 8 the Ocho.
HBO got so many networks. Oh my god, damn! And they put Thrones on all of them because they know the moneymaker when there's a moneymaker, and they got one, and it's back. And you know what? I'll be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at the end of this House of Dragon run, they rerun the other Game of Thrones.
I mean, it's on HBO Max, so it's not like you can't access it.
Yeah, who's about to do that though?
A lot of people probably. That I would assume that there are probably going to be some people who are like, oh, I never watched Game of Thrones, like me. I don't have any intention to go back and watch Game of Thrones, but there may be some people that watch House of the Dragon and be like,
would you watch it after the House of the Dragon series wrap?
No.
Like however many series?
No.
Damn, you really hate Thrones, huh?
I don't hate it. I have no intentions of going back and watching, because you see, like, I know that it's what, 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, and I know that there is sort of you have to get into the story, so there's slow development. Characters get introduced, and I would have to really be invested to be able to sit through all of that again, because the whole thing is out. Maybe if I were to watch episode, if I were to get hooked, then maybe I'll watch the rest of the seasons. But as of right now, as I feel right now, I don't have any intentions to go back and watch Game of Thrones. Yeah, but like you said, after the House of the Dragon series wraps, maybe because they might allude to, because like what we said, that this was 100 and something years. Yeah, I think like 170 years before Daenerys Targaryen. And so maybe if they start alluding to characters, and because I mean, we're already getting houses, we're talking about House Stark, House Baratheon, all of the houses that we've come to know in Game of Thrones. So we're getting those name drops for that familiarity and everything. Of course, House Targaryen and everything. But me personally,
I want you to know something. Atlantis always faces debts.
Okay.
If you watch Thrones, you would have known I was talking about. No, it's okay. It's okay. Well, they got it. Thank you guys. Y'all got it. Thank y'all for listening to this song as well.
But I know we've been running a little bit long, but of course we had to catch up on 2 episodes. But if you like this video, hit the like button. Let us know in the comments.
Right there.
Right there. But let us know in the comments below what you thought about episode 4 and episode 5. No, I'm sorry, episode 5 and episode 6 of Game of Thrones House of the Dragon. But again, if you like the video, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes come out. Again, if you want the audio version, you can find us on all your major podcast streaming platforms. Just search for All Things Super. And if you want to join in the conversation, you can find us on Twitter at ATSuperPod.
It's Thrones, babe. You know what it is.
Yeah. But until next time, we got, like you said, we got 4 more episodes. But until next time, we'll see you in the next episode. Later.